So today's job is to make a pair of Axlebox covers for the pony truck. It should be fairly easy. You basically just have to put two circular features on each side of the square. So not too difficult. As you can see, I've cleaned the lathe today, so it's not looking quite so shabby. The way I'm going to approach this is I've cut off quite a large piece. The actual part that I need to make is only 7mm deep, so I'm going to put on each end of this piece, I will do the outer edge, which is the most important one. Do that first, and then I shall use the saw to cut off the right width, and then I'll do the back side, which is less important. So just drilling the clearance holes for 8BA in the milling machine. Okay, that's the covers super glued to the axle boxes. I'm going to give that quite a decent amount of time to go off, and then I might put a couple of screws in initially just while I'm knocking the corners off. I think that would hopefully strengthen it up during the longer interrupted cuts, and we'll see how we get on with that. So that's the covers done. Was reasonably successful, but when I didn't really leave this scrap bit big enough, so it made it quite difficult to cut on the bandsaw, and unfortunately the blade snapped. So I ended up using an angle grinder to finish it off, and the hacksaw after that. So not pretty, but it did work. I think if you are going to use this method, leave a bit more spare, and then obviously that the leftover bit is a bit more useful as well. So that's what the cover will look like. So this obviously comes off, and then the bearing goes in. It is relieved underneath for the bearing as well. It looks a bit messy at the moment because of all the burnt super glue, so I just used a torch to heat up the super glue to break the bond. I didn't need to put the bolts in to hold that in place. The super glue was actually strong enough. So that'll look really nice actually, I think, with the cast Timkin cover cleaned up, and perhaps some fake bolts glued in as well. So I'm pretty pleased with that. The roller bearings have been installed in the axle boxes now. I basically just used the cover to push it in because they have got the gap for the inner race, so that's good. I've super glued an 8BA to make up for the fact that my 8BA tap snapped on accident. So I'm just going to put those together and then we can mount it in the pony truck. I basically used this plate to shorten the loader screws up. So it's been counterboard clearance about halfway through, and then tapped 8BA. I'll just put a longer screw through, saw it off with the hacksaw, and then file it flat, and then just work it in and out a few times on the threaded part just to clean the thread up, and that works great. So we've got the Axlebox end caps all put in place, so they now slide nicely, and we have bearings installed. So the grease is a little bit stiff in them at the moment because they're quite old, but they'll loosen up. But working axle boxes, so that's wonderful. So the next job is to make the keeps, so we'll carry on with that later. I hope you found that interesting. Like, share, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.